coordinator Shannon Dawson.
Shannon, so what did we obviously know what happened in the game, but what did the film show you when you came in the next day and watched it back?
That we gave a lot of possessions away. It was an 11 possession game, which is about like across the nation with the clock rules. So possessions are about 2 or 3 possessions less than they probably were years ago. And out of those 11, we gave 5 away, and you can't do that. You can't give 5 possessions away to a good team, and we knew we were facing a really good team, good defense. They've lost 1 game, and the team that beat them had 230 yards total offense. And so we knew exactly what we were getting. And so, we gave away 5 possessions in an 11 possession game. And that's hard to win. You're not gonna win, basically. So we have to do a better job of not giving away possessions.
The run game, the last 2, what do you think are averaging about 2.5? The run game averaging, I think, 2.5 yards a rush after doing really good the first one. Just anything you can pinpoint on what's happened there and what you guys can do to correct and get back on track?
I don't know about correcting it. Our run game is what it is. We need to execute it better. There's times when we have things there and we miss it. And I don't deflect any blame from that. I have to stick with it. I have to package it together a little bit better probably, but ultimately we just need to keep doing what we're doing, and I have to stick with it. And so just execute. We got to execute better. Now, part of it too is they were stacking the box, playing a bare front, and so, but ultimately that doesn't matter. We need to be able to run the ball effectively, and there's times we did run it effectively, and then we'd get a personal foul penalty. Like you gain 7 yards, and then you go backwards 15. And so I think that, in a way, sometimes that clouds my mind of it's not working. Well, it did. We just got a personal foul penalty. So I have to stick with it, and we just have to execute it better.
When the defense is stacking the box and kind of stymieing the run game, it seemed like on Friday, Carson was trying to throw downfield a lot, and they worked on the second drive, and then obviously had a few picks when trying to go downfield. Is there anything like you said to him about in terms of not trying to hit the home run on so many plays, and it's okay to take plays in the flat and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. We watch film and critique. Nobody shies away from what they need to do better, including myself. Carson's done a great job of checking it down. Probably the best I've had at checking it down. And so in that particular game, in those couple spots, we went a tempo play that we thought would trigger cover 2, and it did. And we had Malley running down the middle. And, obviously we have some underneath stuff that could have checked it down. I think 9 made a pretty damn good play on the ball, to be quite honest with you, but I know it is what it is. And so, and the other one was a one-on-one ball that needs to be us catch it or nobody does. That's the reality of that play. But ultimately, we do want to throw the ball down the field when we have it. And so there has to be a level of, they're backing up, we need to dump it down, absolutely. And so were those things reinforced? Yes, they were.
And how has he kind of bounced back over the last few days after obviously one of the tougher games in his career?
He's fine. It's not, he's played enough football to have games like that. And so he was fine immediately after the game. He felt like we all did. He felt like we gave one away, and it sucks, but at some point you gotta shake it off and you gotta move on. You can't go back in time. We can't replay those plays that we missed. We have to learn from them, and when they come up again, we have to do better. And so he's played enough football to understand that this isn't one person's load to carry. Everybody's got their little bit of self-reflection to do, including myself. I have the biggest one. And I take the brunt of the blame for all of it. And so ultimately, you look in the mirror, it's no different than I told the offense. When we went to bed Friday night as a loser for the first time this year, if you went to bed thinking, oh, so-and-so should have done this, then you're wrong. Everybody should have went to bed thinking, man, I wish I would have done blank to help us win this game. I did the same thing. I laid in bed and I was like, man, what could I have done yesterday, last week, 2 weeks to help us avoid this game, right? And so if everybody will look in the mirror instead of looking peripheral, and we have a bunch of guys in that room that did just that. They look straight in the mirror and they're like, man, you know what? I caused this on this drive. I caused this on this drive. Me, I gotta do better calling the game. I gotta do better at the end, putting us in a better situation to win the game. And so everybody's accountable. And we have a bunch of good people in the room that understand that it isn't one person's deal, it's a collective effort that got us beat. And we just gotta do better. You know, we gotta do better as an offense to move the ball and honestly run more plays. That's the biggest thing that bothers me is when you give away 5 possessions like that, you end up running 60-something plays rather than 80. You know, and that's you know, I want those 20 plays.
When you were laying in bed thinking about what you could have done better, do you mind sharing with us like some of the things you came up with?
The main things I came up with, I won't share, Daryl, to be honest with you, because it's going to lead into some stuff for the next couple weeks. But ultimately, there was some things. You know, there's specific things that I think in those certain situations that I could do better, call better, make clearer, you know, in those particular situations, and that's coaching. I have to coach better in those situations. And so I thought we had a really good plan going into the game. We got punched in the face, to be quite honest with you. Our 4th play of the game, we're down 14-0. And so I thought we showed a lot of resilience coming back and fighting and putting ourselves in a situation where we had a chance to win the game. And then ultimately, we didn't deserve to win the game. We did not, and that's why we didn't win the game. They played better than we did. And there isn't one person in our room offensively when I asked that question today that said we did deserve to win. We didn't play our best, and we didn't deserve to win, and we didn't win. And you get what you deserve in this life. And so we're gonna get ready and have a great practice tomorrow, and everybody's shake it off, and we're ready to roll with a positive attitude, and we're gonna make it right.
Shannon, what did you make of the last interception on that play? Just how it played out. We all heard Carson's comments.
I mean, what I think about it is it's out of a timeout, and I gotta do a better job with extreme clarity on what we need to do. And I point every finger at me on that play because we're coming out of a timeout, and I gotta do a better job putting our team in position to be successful in that particular situation.
Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but in watching it back, it looks like they were taking away the middle of the field from you. There was a clear effort both in the run game and in the pass game to take away the middle of the field. Did you see it that way? And if you do see it that way, does that mean that maybe there's predictability that you're looking at? I mean, people look at analytics on our run game. They say we run up the middle 78% of the time. I don't know what the number is today, but you probably do.
Gary, you know what the number is.
No, I swear I don't, but you probably do. But do you look at predictability in situations like that?
I do, and this is the answer is this. When teams play us, they mix stuff up more than they do when they don't. Does that make sense? And so to say that they took the middle of the field away would be less than honest assessment by you, even though I think you do have your probably stats in your head. But they played a lot of split coverage that they hadn't been playing. When we tempoed, they went Tampa. You know, so I thought they did a really good job to give them credit of mixing up fronts and coverages. And so ultimately, in our pass game, it don't matter what coverage you're in. It really doesn't. Like that's why ours is a little bit different than a lot of other people's. Ours is progression based. So your eyes need to be burnt on your reads. You know, it's 1, 2, 3, check down. You know, so to me, like sitting here obsessing about what they took away, that doesn't really help me much. What helps me is there's an avenue of finding the open guy in our offense, and that avenue and that journey is burning your eyes on your reads, because your reads will take you to the open guy. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so, I don't know if that answers your question.
No, you did, but and then I wanted to ask you just about the unevenness of performances, and it's probably a product of football. And I asked Coach about it too. I mean, you know, the O-line plays great for the first several games of the season, struggled the other night. Carson had been really good, as you said, on check downs and everything earlier in the season. The other night, he really wasn't. Like, what creates that unevenness in performance?
I think you gotta give the other team credit at times. You know, I think Louisville played really good on defense, but I would go at you a little bit about groups not playing bad because we shared the badness in that game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no.
Like it kind of went in every position group at times. And to sit here and say, well, the O-line played bad, that's really not fair to them because there was a lot of plays that were blocked up perfectly. There was a lot of times we got a lot of time to throw the ball, right? Was there a handful of times when that wasn't the case? Yes. And there typically is in the course of a game. There were times where run game was blocked up perfectly and we just missed it. There was times when it wasn't. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say that one group played bad. I wouldn't say that. I don't believe that. I do think in that particular game, for whatever reason, if I had this answer, I'd probably write a book and you'd never see me again, Jared. You'd live in a cabin in the woods somewhere. I'd sell so many copies of it. But we kind of all collectively shared some time not doing our job, you know, which is a little bit uncommon with this group because, I mean, since the beginning of camp, we've been pretty consistent on a daily basis and on a game-to-game basis of doing our job at a high level. Why did we have a little bit of lapse in that game? I can't answer that other than to say that sometimes you just don't play your best and you gotta learn from it and move on as coaches and players. And in the journey of that, really, a lot of times when adversity hits like that, you assess what you do really good. And it ends up being a very positive thing. And I think that's exactly what's gonna happen here.
Got time for one more.
Throughout camp and leading the season, you talked about how excited you were about the receiver depth that you have. It's been very Daniel, Tony, and obviously
Yeah.
both of them have done really well, but you surprised that it's really been leaning towards two and not as spread out as much, and just your thoughts midway through the season?
I'm not surprised. It's a product of this. Jordan, I hope this answers your question because I know everybody has a similar deal. We need to run more plays. Does that make sense? We need to run more plays. And when you run more plays, which means we need to get more first downs and we need to not give possessions away. And when you don't give possessions away, and if you look at that game, we had 20 something plays the first half, right? That's not a lot. Now we got a lot out of it. We're averaging like 10 yards a play because we hit some big ones. And then we ran 40 something plays the second half. Well, if you run 40 plays the first half and 40 plays the second half, you run about 80 plays. I'm not saying that I don't have a goal in mind of like, I want to run X number of plays a game because the flow of the game kind of dictates that in a lot of ways. But I want to run more than we'll run it. And if we can get to running more plays, I think we're going to see a lot more people in there and their opportunities will come. But we got to run more plays because starters are starters for a reason. And when you're not running a lot of plays, then the flow of the game is not dictating to play a lot of people. Does that make sense?
Awesome. Wanted to Dirk Coach.
Appreciate it, guys.